tell me a little bit about the inception of this car.
I had this big collection of Mercedes literature, ephemera brochures and things, and I wanted to buy a 6-cylinder Mercedes to do this with because I wanted it to be reliable and last forever. But I wanted the big body. I wanted a 126. But 300 SEs are hard to find. They only made them for 3 years. This was the first piece that I put on. That's a copy of the patent for the 1886 patent motor wagon.
So you have a theme as you go around.
Absolutely. Each panel is sort of an era, 1886 to 1900. This was the panel that was toughest to find material for, of course. But they're all original pieces out of Mercedes publications, magazines. These were art plates from the 70s. They did a series of art plates. And then just old Mercedes magazines and a lot of manufacturer published stuff. I did the A-pillars in old classifieds from Road and Track because you can see you can buy a 300 SL, gull wing for $5,900 in 1974. This one is 1900 to 1945. So you've got the merger of Mercedes and Benz here. There's an explanation. There's like the certificate. There's a lot of just narrative stuff. And then this was a big replica of a big poster from the 20s with this woman here in this car. It's the Count Trossi car. Of course, some World War II stuff because the Messerschmitt fighters had Daimler motors in them. This is 1946 to 59, which is mostly really just the 50s because they weren't doing a whole lot in the late 40s. This is an insert from a 1959 Wall Street Journal, and it was a Studebaker-Packard Mercedes ad because obviously, Studebaker was the distributor. Love the guy smoking the cigarette here with his wife, looking at the cars. Here's Ike and Adenauer. These 3 or 5 or whatever, 4 of them, 5 of them are all from National Geographics from the 50s. And then here's Max Hoffman. This is a full-page ad from a Road and Track with the 300 SL Roadster and gull wing. Then this whole panel is the 60s, and this is one of my favorite just because they're great cars and great graphic stuff. The pagodas on the gas cap. And this is a cool one, of course. This is like 60, 61, I think. The C111 was 1969, I think. Racing history here on the back. From the earliest stuff, here's Ferdinand Porsche and Neubauer at the Targa Florio and like way, way long ago. And then, Fangio, Moss and
So did you
Jenkinson.
have all this stuff in your collection,
Yeah.
or did you like start on a certain panel, go, I need a little bit more?
No,
this year?
I had it all, and there was tons I couldn't fit. There was a lot of stuff that I wanted to use that I couldn't. Back here on the bottom, these were all like tagline stuff out of brochures or magazine ads, and they reminded me of bumper stickers, so I just put them all around here. This is a full 2-page spread on the Le Mans 55 crash that I'm amazed that a lot of Mercedes people don't know that car killed 82 people or something, and they pulled out of racing for 30 years. And then new stuff here. Then this is 70s. I actually signed it right there. I wasn't going to do that, but one of my friends said, you've got to sign it.
It's a piece of art.
But road test for an SLC. I started on the front corner, and I learned a lot as I went. So I started cutting out these windows so you could see what's through the piece. Got a little rock chip right there, or no, that's bird stuff. A cover of a Road and Track for the 116. Cool taxi ad. This is a neat ad. They only made this pickup for the Argentinian market in the 70s. Here's an original build card. The roof and the hood are kind of just mixed subjects. This was always my favorite page in any brochure, like the color stuff. So this one's from 87, and this is from about 75 or 76. And I just love those colors, are crazy. So this is the 80s panel. There's Bruno Sacco. I thought this was funny. This is the 190E that they drove around the world. They drove it for like a week straight at a track. What's the deal with the guy here? No shirt and overalls. I saw that dude. I was like, what's his story? Here's an original window sticker for I think a 420 SEL. Then this is the 90s, the ML, you know, all kinds of other stuff. There's the E36, like the wagon with.
Did you have in your collection more of one year than the other, so you kind of had to like narrow it down?
A lot of 80s stuff. I love the 80s was a great era for the brochures. They were thick and had great art direction and everything. But 60s, 70s, 80s was probably the most. And you know, a lot of this stuff was given to me by like old guys in the Mercedes Club. I had a dentist in Minneapolis where I lived. This was his actual purchase order from 1967. He did a European delivery. That was his first European delivery. And that's the actual signatures, the spec of the car. So this section right here is all European delivery. These are 2 postage stamps from Germany in the 1930s, one with Benz and the other with Daimler. This is the like 2000 up to about 2012 or 15 maybe. I think that's like a 15 S-Class. So this was the last piece that I put on. And it, you know, the first is they invented the car on the other side, and this is how far we've come. This is a, you know, a piece of a brochure showing you the atomizer sense for the ridiculous atomizer sense for your glove box, which I just think is ridiculous and lame. And that's how far they invented the car. Now they're giving you a scent for your glove box, but what do you do? And then the hood is mixed subjects as well. The little G-Wagon tribute here. This is AMG right here. This is an ad from a newspaper in Louisville, Kentucky for Tafel Motor Company in about 68 for the 280 SL. We've got Andy Warhol stuff up there. This is kind of a tribute to the production folks. This is the factory pre-war. A picture of the entrance to the Mercedes factory before the war. And then this would be, you know, in the 50s. That's 70s. And this is one of my favorite pieces. This is the original road test from Road and Track for the 300 SL from April of 55. That was very delicate paper. This is all about safety innovations here. Bella Barani is right there, a little story about him and his patent that he did for, I think, the crumple zones is what that's doing. But, you know, they were crash testing stuff in the 50s. So.
How many years ago did you do this?
I started it in like the 30th of December, 2023, and I finished it in September of 2024. So about 9 months. I figure I did probably 400 or 500 hours. And it's interesting, I as I did it, I weighed every single piece. I have this really like a gold scale, right? Because I'm in the precious metals business, so I weigh like little tiny pieces of gold. So on April 19th of 24, back to passenger's front door. So I was on that side of the car. Oh, poster with lady in red. So we can go find that piece, but that one weighs 1.5 grams. The poster with the ship, 1.6 grams. So these were like 1930s posters.
So adding in all what the weight of the whole thing's gonna
right,
be.
ME109 plane, that little piece was 0.8 grams. So I add all this up afterwards, you know, this page 26 grams. So I do that and I go to book 2. I add it all up. How many pounds do you think I added to this car?
I'm not sure.
Like
2 pounds?
Yeah. 2 pounds. I thought it was going to be, you know, 35 like reams of paper, and it is an unremarkable 2 pounds.
And then the urethane?
Right. So that was the thing. Before I ever even bought the car, I bought a hood to an F-150 pickup truck at a junkyard, and I put this kind of stuff all over it. I didn't use. I might have used a different page that wasn't as exciting of this brochure. I used the other, you know, the other page from the newspaper. So I glued everything on there and I made quadrants. And then I tried a couple Minwax products, oil-based, water-based. And the oil-based stuff is fine on a really new piece. Like this is a piece from the RM catalog last year because
it'll drink these will drink it up
it'll
and make
just,
it illegible, right?
Well, the oil-based stuff will tear this apart. And what's on the back comes right through.
Yeah.
So some things in the Road and Track, something like from 55 from a Road and Track, or this piece, which is very delicate from even earlier, it would just shred it. So I found that a water-based Minwax sealer wouldn't hurt even the most delicate pieces.
Cool.
But I wanted something more durable than a water-based, so I did 2 coats of water-based, 2 coats of oil-based.
Nice.
And that's why it's so glossy. I brushed each one on like liberally, very thick. But what's happened since I've driven across the country in the heat, you can see right here that there's a little bit, this little seam used to just be perfect and totally waterproof. I would spray detail this like it was any car. But the heat, it was 118 degrees in Needles, California, you know, and it started to crack some of that, and things are shrinking and moving. But, you know, art cars are living, breathing things. I have an emergency kit with stuff from every era in the trunk, and the glue and all the finishes, so I can repair it. But I'm not so worried about it. It's a living, breathing thing. It's cool. And it's been a lot of fun, and it's really fun to share it with people. It was such a personal thing. I was in my shop doing this for hours and nights and weekends all by myself, and I kind of debuted it at the Watkins Glen Grand Prix Festival last year. I do stuff there with that organization, and it was cool. I went in to like get my credentials, and I came out and there was a crowd of people around it.
What's the most surprising reaction you've had from people that come up to you?
A lot of people say nice wrap, you know, that's a cool wrap. I was getting gas at the Chevron at Rio Road and Highway 1 yesterday, and as I filled up, you know, there were a bunch of like paparazzi kids that you have out. You didn't used to have that here, but there are all these like, you know, 20, 25-year-olds with these $5,000 cameras taking pictures of McLarens and stuff. And one kid came up and he said, "Dude, seriously, literally, cooler than the Koenigsegg." And that was kind of fun. It was neat that like a young kid would appreciate it. But,
Seal of approval.
yeah. But it's fun, and it's it's out in the world now, and I just drive it around, and you know, a lot of thumbs up, and people find their car on it, and you know, and some people have said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you cut up that 300 SL brochure to put on here," but you know, that's the cool piece. These frames were cool. You can see this is a road test for a 300 SL that Road and Track did later, like in the 70s. But this is one page, and I just kept cutting these strips. So there's the top, the middle, you know, all the way down. You know, you got to wrap it around. You can see the seal, or how I did it up there.
Enjoy the day. Thank you.
Reason not to do this, I just wanted, that was the original color of the car, and this was the only other piece that I didn't fill in. This car had a pinstripe on it, and back in the 80s, pinstripers would sign their work. And I just thought that was a cool little sign. That was a guy in New Jersey. I saw a 560 SL at a show in New Jersey with that same
awesome.
signature, and I was like, I'll leave that on.
What's your favorite brochure that's on this car?
Oh gosh, that you know, it's hard to say.
I guess, but
this
go
is a
by
really
era.
cool one. I think that's just the other side of that is like, you know, that's just a great photo. That's one big piece. I think that's a super cool one. Of course, this is awesome, you know. I think this newspaper piece is very cool with the Studebaker Packard thing. This is one of my favorites. That's an early 230 SL piece. And then I love the color stuff. The color swatches are great. Like the one from the 70s, you know, avocado green and English red are fabulous. Every piece has a story, you know. This one, I just love this ad. So over-engineered, it maneuvers like in traffic like a whippet in a herd of buffalo. I mean, that's just classic Mercedes stuff. So thanks for being interested.
Thanks for showing me your vision.